Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 6 Structure and Function. And our topic is Functionalism in Social Anthropology. Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski. The first approach in social anthropology for the analysis of the society was evolutionary, which, though present earlier in the writings of the Comte and the Spencer, was almost firmly established after the publication of Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. During the second half of the 19th century, almost every anthropologist was concerned with two issues. First, how was the institution or culture, practice or trait established in the first place? What has been its origin? Second, what are the various stages through which it has passed to reach its contemporary state? Both the questions were important and relevant, but in the absence of authentic data, the early evolutionists extravagantly indulged in speculations and conjectures, imaging the causes that gave rise to institutions and the stages of their evolution. Most of the evolutionists, bearing a few possible exceptions, such as Lewis H. Morgan and Edward B. Tylor, had not themselves collected any data on which they based their generalizations. They almost completely relied upon the information that travelers, missionaries, colonial officers, and soldiers who were in touch with the known Western societies provided, knowing full well that much of these data might be biased, exaggerated, incomplete, and incorrect. Because they themselves did not carry out any field work, they earned the notorious title of armchair anthropologist. Both the founders of the British functional approach, Radcliffe Brown and the Malinowski, was vehemently critical of the 19th century evolutionism. Radcliffe Brown said that it was based on conjectural history, a term we used earlier, and not authentic history. It was pseudo-historical, thus devoid of a scientific values. For Malinsky, classical evolutionism was a limbo of conjectural reconstructions. With the words of these scholars came a shift from armchair anthropology to fieldwork based studies. The study of the origin and stages of evolution of society and its institution to society here and now. The study of the entire societies and cultures to the study of particular societies, especially the small scale societies, macro and micro approach, and an understanding of society confined to a theoretical level to putting the knowledge of society here and now to practical use to bring about desired changes in society. Rather than remaining just an academic study of the oddities of society, different and bizarre customs and the practices. The knowledge we have acquired should be used for improving upon the conditions of people, for improving upon the relations of local people with the outside world. Incidentally, Malinsky called this concern of anthropology practical anthropology. The scholars who later came to be known as functionalists sought to shift the focus of their study from what society was to what society is. And this study should be carried out not by speculative methods but by living with people in their natural habitats and learning from them from the field. It was not against the processes of evolution and diffusion that the functionalists leveled their criticism, for they knew that they were important processes of change. In fact, both Radcliffe Brown and the Malinsky thought that after they were through most of their important fieldwork based studies, they would take up the study of the processes of evolution and diffusion. What they were against was a study of past through imaginative history rather than one based on facts. If authentic documents were available about societies, they must readily be used for some insights into change. But the functionalists noted that these documents were not available about primitive and pre-literate societies. Therefore, we would not have any knowledge of the development of social institutions among them. Instead of speculating how they have evolved, we should study what they are, using the scientific methods of observation, comparison, and arriving at generalization. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self-learning podcasts.